Hello and welcome to another fly tying session with your host Scott. In this session I'm going to be tying a fly known as the Viva Snatcher. The Snatcher is a family of flies normally tied on your usual curved buzzer hooks, in this case a Camazan B100, and it'll have a palmered hackle, goose biot cheeks, and normally a glow bright butt as well. In many of the patterns that you see. This one is in Black and Chartreuse in the same colour scheme as the Viva Lure, which is a classic lure, and that's where the fly gets its name. So I'm going to go over the materials that I'm going to be using to tie it. I've got a Camazan B100 in size 10. You could do it on any size from probably an 8 down to a 14. We're going to be using a black thread in 8/0 by Uni. I'm also going to be using a second thread in 8/0 in Chartreuse, also by Uni. I find it easier than using the floss. We're going to be using some goose biot for your cheeks. For the body, I'm going to be using this hair dub dispenser in black. It's also got some flash bright in there as well. For the hackle, I'm going to be using an Indian cock cape in black. And for the rib, I'm going to be using this fine holographic tinsel that I bought from a sewing shop a few years ago. This particular brand is called Madeira. So we're going to get started. First of all, I'm going to come in with the Chartreuse thread and just bed the hook. Now where you stop is up to you. I've got a specific point where I like to stop, but it's hard to gauge really. I just do it by eye really. So I normally want the butt to start probably about there. So the thread dangles about 1mm past the barb. And then we're going to start building up our turns of thread to create the butt on the fly. And to gauge the size of the butt, I'll let the thread dangle so that it's in line with the barb. And that's how I'll get the size consistent. And I normally do several passes. I think it's 2 full passes, so 1 back, 1 forward, 1 back, 1 forward. There we are, that's our butt tied. And then we're tying our tinsel. You may as well, while you've got the Chartreuse thread, tie in the tinsel there, and then just run this thread back up towards the eye. Doesn't have to be neat. And then you're just going to, you can half hitch it if you want actually, a quick half hitch. And that's it. To change your threads. Then you're going to grab your bobbin with your black thread on, coming up the eye. And take the thread down to where the butt starts. I normally cut it off a little bit early, just to cover the cut end. It doesn't matter how good your scissors are, you're always going to have a little bit of a cut end there. Yep, that's it, that's where the butt starts. And then you grab your dubbing. You want a fairly thin rope of this dubbing, you don't want it to be too thick. On the whole, it's not actually going to be seen. You could get away without it, but I like to have it there. It gives the the palmered hackle feather, something to grip on while you're turning it around the shank of the hook. If you've ever tried to palmer a hackle over tinsel bodies and they slip, that's pretty much why. Nothing for the hackle to grip onto. So try and get the rope as even as you can. And the idea is just to cover. Don't want it too thick. And you take it up to about a head length away. And you're going to get yourself a nice feather. I like ones with quite long barbs. I like the fly to have a lot of movement going on. We're going to move that little lot away there. It's a bit fluffy. We don't use the fluff on the feather. Tie it in. Trim away. And grab your hackle pliers. And then I'm going to put 2 full turns in at the collar or at the head. Then I'm going to start to palmer. With evenly spaced turns. Until you get to the butt. And grab your tinsel. And wind the tinsel the other way. Just start ribbing and to secure the hackle. Using nice even turns. Don't worry about catching those fibres. We'll sort those out in a minute. Remove the tinsel. Come in and remove your stalk. Like so. Brush your fibres back. And then cut yourself 2 pieces of your goose biot. And you're going to use the sharp ends of this. There's lots of variations of this fly out there, so there's lots of things you can do. Now, what I like to do with this particular one is I like to have it sticking up above the fly, and so that it comes about halfway down the body of the fly. About there. So have a quick look at that. So if it's a little long, you can pull it in again. There we go. That's what I was going for. I'll do it again. And basically giving the fly horns. That's about right. And once you're happy, put a few more turns of thread in to lock it off. And the best tip I can give you with this stuff is don't take it all the way down to the eye, the thread. Trim it off before you get to the eye. Otherwise you'll have a bit sticking out over the eye, which you'll never get rid of because it's very hard to cut very closely. Like that. And then take your thread to the eye and start to build up your head. And once everything's where you want it to be, you can whip finish. Trim away. Then varnish to finish. And there we are. That is the Viva Snatcher. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.